Before we move on with today's chapter, I have a disclaimer for you. This podcast is for information purposes only, and it's not intended to replace professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Cramps and Chaos is a platform where people affected by endometriosis can share their stories. These views and experiences are personal and may not reflect those of all individuals living with endometriosis. There aren't any right or wrong answers. Everyone's journey is different. Hello everyone and welcome back. First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone that is supporting and following this project. It really means so much. I really like to see our community growing day by day with more and more people sharing their stories and journeys with endometriosis. If you like this podcast, follow the Cramps and Chaos channel, like the videos and share to help us raise more awareness not only about endometriosis, but more importantly, about the experiences of those affected by endometriosis. Here with us today for the fourth episode of Cramps and Chaos, we have Antonia. She's a young woman from Germany, she works in HR, and today she'll tell us her endo story. Antonia had to endure years of pain before getting the attention and care that she needed and deserved, which led to eventually receiving her endo diagnosis and surgery. She also opens up about treatment options and how her quality of life improved after getting an operation, how she balances her job and social life while suffering endometriosis, and her efforts in advocating for endo awareness at work. I really hope you enjoy today's episode of Cramps and Chaos. Hello, Antonia. Thank you so much for joining us today and welcome to Cramps and Chaos.
Hi, thank you for having me.
How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very good right now. I'm feeling really good. How about you?
Good. Very excited. So tell us something about you. What do you like to do and who are you?
I'm 24 years old. I'm currently working in an office and I love games evening, like with card games or board games. I think that's sort of the thing of my friends group, and it's like the main thing I really love to do also with my fiancé, just the two of us having a game night rather than like TV night or something.
That's good. I don't like playing games unless they're very easy. But I do the same with chess. Like we have chess night with my husband, and it's really depressing because I lose all the time. But yeah, I completely get what you mean with having like a game night instead of TV. So I'm very excited to have you with me today, and I'm very excited because you have a very interesting story, and in so many ways it's a very positive one. And I think a lot of people are going to find it hopeful and inspiring. Would you like to start from the beginning? When did you first get your period?
Yes. I got my period when I was 14, like in 7th grade. And back then it was no problem for me. I had no pain or anything. It was just like a little bit, frustrating or like a little bit weird, I would say, to have the period back then. But the real pain started when I was about 16 or 17. So I was still in school, but it wasn't from the beginning.
And how did the pain prevent you from living a normal life when you started experiencing really bad pain?
Well, at first, I just had a little bit of pain, so I could just take painkillers and go on with my day. But as the years went by, like with 17, I think that was the first time where I had to leave the school because I couldn't like sit anymore. I needed to lay down. I couldn't concentrate. It just didn't make sense that I stay there. And I had so much pain and went home and took painkillers. It didn't work. And then, that's where it started, and it just got worse from then.
And I imagine it must have been really hard because at school, like you obviously have a lot of expectations from teachers, from like, not leaving the school unless you're very sick. How did you deal with that, with people's expectation of you being able to kind of lead a normal life?
Yeah, well, I had the feeling that I was the only one who had that issue. So I was just there and was the only one who just, I wasn't visually sick, like I hadn't had a cold or something. I just had pain. And so I felt kind of guilty and weak going. Like I felt like I was the only one, and I felt that every time I told somebody I have real like pain, either women would tell me, well, I have pain too, but I won't go home or something, or well, like the boys in my class didn't understand it at all. They just thought I was tired or something, or didn't want to go to a certain class. So for me, it was a hard time, I think, in school. I felt guilty. I felt the pressure that I need to stay as long as possible. And I only went if it really wasn't going anywhere, where I thought like, okay, I'm sick. I need something. I need like a warm water bottle or something. I can't just take it in class and sit there with my one water bottle. So then I went home with a lot of guilt and feeling a little bit ashamed, because I thought I was the weak one. I was just sensitive, and everyone's feeling the pain, but I'm just too weak to go through it just by like on a normal day.
Yeah, and I imagine at that age also, like it's not that normal to talk with other, people about it. Like it's very easy to internalize that it's your fault and you're weak because you have to go home and look at all these other people that are not going home, and the problem must be yours. And when you start talking to other people, you realize so many others like have this similar experience, and you're like, oh
Yeah,
wow.
and in school, I had the feeling that anyone else had the same problem, because we were talking about it, but only just like, I have pain. Yeah, I have pain too. But I didn't know that they sometimes feel the same or something. If nobody like really opened up to how much more there is than just like the stomach ache, like the uterus. It's more than that. And that was like really difficult, I think.
And when did the kind of like the word endometriosis enter the scene for you?
Well, back then the ex-girlfriend of my brother, well, back then the girlfriend of my brother's girlfriend, she noticed that I was really in pain every month, and she saw something on Instagram actually, and thought, okay, it might be endometriosis, and she told me and showed me, and I wasn't really interested, because from my perspective, I was still thinking, okay, everyone has pain, and I'm just sensitive, so I don't need to know what's that, because I'm not sick. I'm fine. I just am sensitive to pain. And so she told me, she showed me the article. It was like several pages where I had to scroll through, like, and I just saw the first picture and then was like not interested and just set it aside and went on. But yeah, I went to my doctor, my gynecologist, and told her that I have pain, just to ask for like new medication, because my painkillers wasn't working anymore. And I think after like 3 years of mentioning every time that I need new pain medication, and if there's another way to deal with the pain, she thought, okay, I think there's maybe something more. And she told me, we have like an endometriosis center in nearby. Maybe you should check that out. And that was the first time where really like dealt with the word endometriosis. And then I Googled, and that's how I got to know that this could be it. And then after I went to that center, fortunately, I have private medical care, so I got like I could go there quite quickly. It was still, I think, 3 months that I've waited, but others would wait up to 8 months. So I was quite lucky. Yeah.
It's a long time.
It's really long. Yeah. And then I got really quickly diagnosed. He made an ultra scan, and I think I don't know if he really saw a lot, but from the things I've told him and what I experienced, besides the pain I have while during the period, I have the same pain also when I do like sports or something. I also get like cramps. So I had a couple of symptoms, and so he gave me the option to go back on the pill, which I tried, not for the reason of endometriosis. I tried the pill when I was a teenager, just to prevent pregnancy, but I wasn't really dealing well with the pill. Well, I don't know anybody who really had a good time with the pill, but I especially had bad hormones then, and was like depressed or had like a roller coaster of emotions in just 1 hour. So I told the specialist at the center that the pill is not an option for me. I won't ever take it. He told me there's another option, and I could look into doing the operation. Like the center is specialized on that operation, where you can like scratch off all of the endometriosis and inside and or rather outside of the uterus. I think for me it was just outside. I have no stuff inside.
You don't have adenomyosis. You don't have anything inside.
No, just outside.
And what was your worst fear about the operation?
To be honest, I wasn't concerned about like the side effects or things that go wrong. My worst fear actually was that he opens me up and notices, okay, there's nothing, and she's just sensitive, and that's like it. He just comes to me when I'm waking up and is like, okay, there's nothing. I don't know what your problem is, but it's not visible.
It's not endometriosis. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be like I think the worst for me. Like I would rather have the endometriosis diagnosed than just the diagnosis that I just sensitive and don't know how to deal with pain, because it felt so real for me, and everybody was not everybody, but a lot of people were saying like, okay, yeah, we all have period pain. You just have to deal with it.
Yeah, I completely understand what you're saying, because once you have a diagnosis and you have something that you finally give it a name and you know what it is, it's easier to kind of place yourself in, not in comparison with other people, but you know that it's something more serious than just having painful periods. It stretches beyond that. And it has implications, and like you said, the stomach ache, or when you do sports and you have pain, that really prevents you from doing normal stuff, like going for a long walk or going for a hike. And receiving a diagnosis is important, because you don't blame it on yourself, and you blame it on something that it's real, and it's a chronic disease, and it has to be taken seriously.
Yes, I experienced this like pressure all the time, that I felt I was getting the period, and I felt I have pain already, and I knew that it's gonna get worse, but I didn't want to didn't want to cancel any date with friends or something just because of it, anything. And I would try and go there, and after 1 hour, I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I need to go home. It was hard dealing with it, especially as a teenager. When I got older, I got then other issues, like how to, manage work with period pain. But, I was brave enough at least to talk to my friends about it. They know, and they understand. And at work, that's a little bit more difficult. I
imagine.
Yeah, here in Germany, it's not good to be sick too often. And if you, are sick every month of that means that you're at least 12 days in a year that you are sick. And that's like, you get like they talk behind your back about that, and you know that
That's
they don't
terrible.
take it seriously, and that's just doesn't look good. So that was, I think, worse for me than
Mm-hmm.
the guilt I got, or like the pressure I got from my friends. And as a teenager, I think as a teenager there's a peer like pressure anyways, so it wasn't that bad for me. But as an adult, where I thought, okay, now I can be myself, I can be honest, and then you still have like colleagues who don't believe you. That's like a hit in your
Yeah,
face.
yeah. It's just history repeating itself. You realize that the problem isn't you, but it's the society that we live in,
Mm,
because it's not you being a teenager and caring about what your friends um, say or think. The problem is that people, there's a general like mistrust in when people experience pain, and pain is not that visible to see. You always have the question of people questioning, is she really that much in pain?
mm.
And with work, yes, I was actually going to ask you, like, in terms of quality of life, how did your quality of life improve after the operation?
Um, so I did the operation 2 years ago, I think. Yes. And well, everything went well. I wasn't worried about that, but I know that it's not like they can go it can go wrong sometimes. But for me, it worked out perfectly. I was feeling very good afterwards, and the pain I got was not close to the pain I usually get when I on my period. So for me, it was just like another week of period pain. So
Mm-hmm.
which is in a sense not that bad. And yeah, after that, I immediately, I think 1 week after that, I got the spiral just to prevent from new growth of endometriosis. And they told me I don't have my period when when I have the spiral in, but I still get my period actually. But the pain isn't, um, yeah, isn't that bad anymore. I don't know how the period pain feels like for people who don't have endometriosis. Like you feel it, it's tense, it's uncomfortable. You have sort of pain, but if it's getting too bad, I actually on my last period, I took one painkiller and it worked immediately. I was pain free immediately after that. I could go to work. I now don't have to call in sick every month. I It's like a game changer for me. So the operation was a real relief for me. I couldn't have thought back when I was 20 or 19, that I have like a pain-free life, because for me it was just the norm. I feared my period, every month. I had my tracker. I knew when it's gonna come. And, as I got closer, I got anxious and thought like, okay, it's gonna get bad. I need to call off sick. I need to see what dates do I have, or what
Mm-hmm.
other things did I plan, what I have to cancel. It was like, well, it made a big difference. Now I don't think about my period. I know when it's coming, and I know it's not going to be comfortable. Of course, it's never comfortable, but I know that I can go through with my plans. I know that I have more energy. And I'm motivated. I like when I
Mm-hmm.
was back then, when I was on my period, I didn't feel like going out. I just felt like, okay, even if I didn't have that much pain, I just didn't want to go outside because I didn't feel like it. And for me right now, that's a big difference. And I wouldn't have thought that it's going to be so much different.
That's good. That's really, like, that's really hopeful, because I think when you get to that point that you don't think your life is going to change and you're going to have that forever, it's a pretty tricky situation to be in, because I think you also stop going out because you're so, like, even if you're feeling good in that moment, or like remotely good, you don't know how you're going to feel in an hour. So
Hmm.
everything becomes incredibly unpredictable. And then every month you have these basically like tsunami that is coming, and the day that it's coming, and you have to prepare and you have to plan, and it's exhausting.
It is. It feels like you constantly thinking about it. I mean, I had to think about like cramps when I just went to jog around the block or something. I went on, and I know that I have to stop at a certain point and do like stretches for the uterus, like weird stretches, just so it doesn't get that tense anymore. And I didn't have one day where I didn't think about it, where I didn't think, okay, what do I have to cancel something, or is it going to be that bad again? Do I have enough painkillers for the next time? And to see if the painkiller is still working, or if I change again, so the next sort of painkiller can work. It was, I always felt like it's a never ending circle. And, I really hated it.
Yeah, you solve a problem, and then the next one comes in, and if it's not the painkillers, it's something else, and it really feels like a never-ending job to have to like manage your pain and manage your endometriosis and plan around it, and you don't realize how much of your brain capacity occupies until you see more clearly, and you're like, wow, like this is actually what life is without having to worry about my period all the time. I had a very similar experience a few years ago when I after my diagnosis I was put on the pill, like the continued pill. So I stopped getting my period. Well, I would for a bit, and then it stopped of momentarily when I was just taking like a progesterone pill. And I remember thinking, oh my God, like, is this life? Because I remember I got to a point where I would have only a few days a month where I was actually not just not in pain, but my brain was not foggy, and I could, plan around and do creative things. And unfortunately, the pill didn't work for me because eventually I completely lost my libido. I was very depressed and I was really down. So I decided to stop. And then I don't know what's next for me. I don't know if I'm going to try something else. But I completely understand what you say in terms of you don't realize how much you're thinking about your period constantly.
Yeah, it's a big relief. I know that the operation is not like an option for everyone. And I know that not everyone has like a center who does it like I have in Germany. But I think it's definitely, for me, it was the best way. And so I personally can recommend at least talking to a specialist in that case. So, that, and getting the diagnosis, because I felt like way better as soon as I knew that I didn't hallucinate and I just actually was in pain. I actually have an illness.
How did your mentality around endometriosis change before and after the diagnosis?
Yes. So my friends knew that I was in pain, and my friends, like, when I talked about it and when I told them what my doctor told me, they knew more than me. They knew the word endometriosis, and I thought like, oh yeah, well, we didn't connect it, but that makes sense. So in that case, there wasn't a big difference. But at work, where I got to say, okay, I have a condition, there is a problem, and I'm gonna solve it. I'm gonna work with I'm gonna work with it, and I'm gonna find a solution that I'm feeling for myself better. So they, it was better after that diagnosis. After they heard like the medical term for it, they started to believe me more. And after I had like talks with my colleagues, especially the older colleagues, which like hasn't, talked in their life much about period. I had the feeling, because they, first of all, wouldn't want to talk about it. They just were like, okay, yeah, whatever, go. If you, okay, yeah, you don't have to tell me about what your problem is. But after I told them this is like a serious condition and I'm gonna have an operation for that, so I'm maybe feeling better after that. That was the time, and I think that's way too late, where they start to respect or like to understand maybe that I wasn't simulating anything, or I wasn't just sensitive in any ways. So also that was a big relief for me. I think the work part was the hardest for me, to just feel like nobody really believed me.
So, like, you could almost say that the diagnosis helped you in the process of starting to advocate for yourself at work.
Yes. After the diagnosis, I also talked more openly about it. Like, I work with a lot of younger apprentices at my office, and I wouldn't really want to talk about them, that I right now having like really bad pain or something and need to go early and leave them alone. And so I just told them I don't feel well or anything. But after the diagnosis, I also was brave enough to talk to them about it, or like brave enough to talk to apprentices which experience the same, where I notice, okay, they're off every month for like a couple of days, and it's quite regularly. Maybe I can talk with them. And after the diagnosis, and after I read that it's quite common, and I started talking about it. And I think that's really important for me, myself, to see, okay, there's other people who experience the same, but also for the other people to know that, like me, I'm working at the HR, that I don't have bad feelings about them leaving because of their period pains, because I can actually understand what it feels like.
Yeah, and you created like you're creating like a supportive environment for people to actually being able to come up and say, I'm not feeling well, I need to go home. Or, you know, if there's something wrong with them, to being able to have a conversation about it, which is amazing to have that at work. And it's even more amazing that you didn't have that, and from that feeling you created something that it's really important, like it's really valuable.
Yeah. I hope that that these tiny talks can help them then be more open about it. And if there's just more knowledge, because I think that half of the office where I work didn't know and still don't know a lot of about that, and just know, okay, women have period pain sometimes. That's all they know. And maybe if like some women are brave enough to talk about it and see, okay, this is a topic you can talk about at work, and it's okay that you're sick because of that. I hope that this helps and makes them at least feel a little bit more seen in the office.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you like what the response has been so far at work on this, like this work that you're doing.
Well, I got really good response from the apprentices, I think. So they really opened up and they talked to me about it, and we were giving each other like painkiller tips, and I think for them it was nice that they know I don't need to have really close like friends or family where I can talk to. I can also like, this is like a topic which I can open up to also colleagues, to other people which aren't that close, because it's a normal topic. A lot of people have that. You can talk about it. It's not a taboo topic, I think.
Yes.
And so I think that changed in that sense. We have quite a lot of apprentices, about 300 a year. So I don't talk to every woman there. I just talked to like couple of them which I'm working closely to. So I don't know, my impact is not that big, but I think even that small impact and even that small feeling what they have, and when they change the department, that they can carry on and tell then their colleagues, okay, this is the condition, this is why I'm sick sometimes, or this is why I can't concentrate on certain times.
Yes.
I think that's important.
Yeah, and I think it's like a small, it's a slow work of like spreading awareness, and then those people that you're spreading awareness with are gonna spread awareness, and it's like this web that it's gonna just get bigger and bigger. And even if you're just spreading knowledge with like a small circle of people, I think that's really, really valuable, especially because there's like now we started to talk about this more, but there's not yet enough conversation about still. Yeah, like I think it's really, really important what you're doing.
Likewise, it's really important what you're doing, because I think you're probably going to reach more than the couple of apprentices I'm talking to. So I'm very excited to be part of that.
I'm very excited, and especially because you're so young, and like I'm almost no 10 years older than you, almost. And to have that kind of mentality, it's very wonderful. I don't know if you say wonderful, but yeah, it's really great.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, like earlier when you were saying about how you suffered people talking behind your back at work, and I wonder, like, how did that how did your perception of people's opinion change over time?
I started to like just ignore it, because for me it was when I was a teenager, it really hurt me when people talk about my behind my back, or really, or like up on front, like okay, you're just sensitive or something. That really hurt me. But yeah, after I got older, I noticed, okay, well, they just don't experience what I do. They can't feel into me. They can't like know the feeling I feel. So okay, it's they don't know this like term endometriosis. They don't know this illness, so they can't know better than just assuming that the pain can't be that bad, especially if so many women have that illness, and you don't see that many women actually like talking about it, or like that that a lot of women have it, but nobody talks about it, so they assume you can live with it perfectly fine and don't have any problem, because otherwise more women would talk about the pain or something. So I thought, like, okay, they probably just don't know. They don't really want anything bad for me, or I mean, they just didn't believe it because they can't feel it and they can't know it. So I started to ignore it. But now, since I officially know that I'm not sensitive, because I started to believe that. I started to believe, okay, I'm sensitive to pain, and I'm actually not. Like, I can fall or like hit anything or get bruises from anything, and I really don't have so much like problems with pain. But I thought, okay, like the uterus thing, I'm off. Like everyone says it, and I'm feeling a lot of pain, and I don't know why. So I need, but there's no other chance than me being sensitive. So, yeah, it was like an up and down. First, I was quite hurt. Then I started to believe it, and after I got the diagnosis, I just knew, okay, they just don't know enough about it. So
Yeah.
for me, it's not that bad. Okay, they can talk bad behind my back, or they can think I'm simulating, but I know I don't. And
the truth. Yeah.
Yes, and at some point they will have some close relative which opens up, or a friend or something, and then maybe they understand, and or like, and understand more than just like one colleague who is who you talk to maybe 3-4 sentences a day, and you just see she's off every month for a day. So
Yeah. And also, I think to be, because how many years did you go to your doctor trying to like explain your symptoms, and your doctor would tell you that you were sensitive to pain? Like quite a few years.
yes, I think about 4 years. I went to her and she gave me new ideas, new painkiller ideas, to take, like Buscopan is a thing in Germany, or like just, stronger ibuprofen, we call it in Germany. I don't know how the English term for that.
Ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen, yes. Yeah. So, I told her quite a lot of times that I really have bad pains and I cannot like work with it or do anything besides laying down and maybe listening to some music or watching a series or something. And, yeah, I think, yeah, after like the fourth time that I was like really frustrated and was really like, I can't do this anymore. This is too much. And I don't want to take the pill anymore to just like don't get my period at all. Where she was like, okay, I think that's
We need to do something.
really, we need to do something. Yeah, that's not normal. What you're experiencing.
But, relating it to what you were saying, how you internalized the fact that you were the problem and you were sensitive to pain, it's not something that you're just naturally born with, that feeling. It's something that it's instilled in you by people around you that you're supposed to trust to take care of you. And instead of checking that there's nothing wrong with you, they tell you, it's possible that you're just more sensitive than other people, with no knowledge that you actually are more sensitive, or there's nothing wrong with you. And I think that should change.
Definitely.
Like, that should change.
Yeah.
Like a very similar experience happened to me. And I never took the pill because I didn't need it, I didn't want it. And I got to a point where I was really in pain like most of the month. And I could feel there was something wrong. I could feel that there was something blocking the way, that when I was moving I could hit this point, and I started getting very worried. And um and I called my doctor. I was living in the UK, and I said the word endometriosis because I recently learned about endometriosis randomly from a TV series. And I was like, oh, wow, like, what's this thing? And so I told her, and I was like, could I have this? It's been years that I tell you that I'm in a lot of pain and blah, blah, blah. And now I had these episodes of like really, really intense, really bad pain after sex. And she was like, well, but, like, you are sensitive. Like, when I do test you have pain, so like you're very sensitive to pain. And the endometriosis, that you have to have an operation to diagnose this, and to diagnose it. And I was like, I don't care. Like, let's do an operation. But like, to me, that was such a uh, I felt so belittled and so like treated like a child. And yeah, so I think, yes, it should change. It should change. As soon as you go to the doctor and you say you experience really bad symptoms and really bad pain, there should be tests done immediately, and not years of being told that you're sensitive.
Yes. And I hope that's like the medicine, or like, that the research about it gets better. So there someday maybe is another way than just the operation to have like a serious diagnosis.
Yep.
So, I
Yep.
hope that changes, because the operation is not, like, I experience it as not as bad, but there are risks, and there are people who are like, who have more risks than me, or like aren't healthy in another sense, or I don't know, or just don't want to do this, like do a whole operation just to get the diagnosis. So I really do
Exactly.
hope that there's gonna be another way to to find out if you really have it, and not just like, I think you could have that, because then you still kind of doubt it.
Yes, exactly. And you leave with that doubt, and that doesn't help with leading a normal life where you're 100% sure of what kind of disease you have. And in the end, I didn't get an operation because I chose to go to a specialist. And through other tests, he finally diagnosed me with endometriosis. So as a matter of fact, like, a good doctor that knows what to look at doesn't need an operation. But it's almost like she was trying to scare me or something, and being like, like, this is very serious that you're talking about. Like, you're going to have an operation. And in the end, it wasn't true. And I'm glad that I didn't get scared. I mean, she eventually diagnosed me, but which makes me think of the next question, because you said something earlier about explaining to people about endometriosis, but we don't live in a kind of society where talking about pain is that accepted and that normalized. But if you could openly tell people what endometriosis is, to help them understand what endometriosis is, how would you explain it?
Yeah. So I would say it's not just the pain that which you have on like one part of your body. It's not just the uterus which is in pain. So you have all sorts of other problems too. You have to consider also, like, I have digestive problems because I had digestive problems because there was endometriosis in my intestines. So or like around my intestines. So I really had a lot to deal with. It's not just having like pain on different points in your body. I had pain in the uterus. I had pain in like the vagina, in my intestines when I had digestive problems. And besides that, you experience so much pain that you get sick from it. Like I had a similar feeling when I broke a bone that I got sick from the pain. It's kind of like so much like your body is working so much that you get dizzy, you get sick, you get tired. Like if you did a whole workout, but you just sat there and watched TV maybe, and you just still feel as tired as you would have after like a good workout.
Totally.
And so that's like the feeling with me. It's every day you're exhausted, and that's from the first like 10 minutes of just waking up, standing up and noticing, okay, I got pain. Sometimes you can't sleep because of the pain. Sometimes you're not hungry at all, and you're just not motivated. It's like, it's a hormonal thing, and physically or like on your body, you experience a lot of different things. So it's just, it kind of feels like a flu, with also somebody punching in your stomach.
Definitely.
And yes, and that's all happening after a good workout, I think.
Yeah, what you said about like the you feeling like really tired, just like from 10 minutes of waking up, your body is like in full body survival. Like, you're not actually living, you feel like you're surviving life.
Yes.
I really hope that we get to a point where we can openly have these conversations.
Definitely. And that everyone who experienced so much pain or so many symptoms just like know that they can talk about it, and also talk about it with their doctors, and they should know that this is not like the normal state. This is not how like everyone is feeling. This is something which should be treated, and there are a lot of different ways. It doesn't have to be the operation. It can also be like the pill. It can be the spiral. You can do some other activities like, I think, yoga or something. There are some other things you can do. So yeah, it's just important that those who experience so much symptoms really know about endometriosis and just know that there are things to make it better.
Yes, exactly. Like, there's options to be to that you can choose from that can work for you. Like, we're not all the same. We don't Endometriosis can change so much from person to person, and unfortunately it can be reduced to like the same for everyone, kind of the same solutions. But really, like what you said, being able to talk about your symptoms and find the right solution for you, it's so important.
Yes.
If you could advise something to your younger self, what would it be?
I would tell my younger self that I don't have to feel ashamed and that it's okay to feel like as bad, and that's not like you're not simulating anything, you're not sensitive, and it's okay to stay at home and to rest, and it's okay to pass on some social activities, and that in the end your closest friends won't just like leave you because you're like passing on activities for a week. Just like I would want to change the mindset of it's something is wrong with me and everybody notice and everybody thinks I'm weird or I'm like just not willing to do something. I think that would help my younger self to not like feel so much guilt or like shame by just staying home. It's okay. You can take some days off, and if like in the future more people know about it, they would respect it more, I think, or like accept it
Yes.
and understand it.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, because it can be so easy to become a bit paranoid of like what people are thinking of me. Also, like fear of missing out, because you know that for X amount of days you're not going out with your friends. Are they going to move on and not call you next time? And if there was like more general understanding of what endometriosis is, I think there would be a very different mentality from you when you're sick, of knowing that there's just a widespread definition that people know. They talk about endometriosis and they're like, yes, I know what that is. But when you don't have that and you're left with people imagining that you're sick, don't know what for, what from, and it can be very hard.
Yes.
Did you find any sources of information throughout the years that helped you?
Well, the first source of information I got was like the Instagram page the ex-girlfriend of my brother showed me. So that was the first time, but I didn't really read it. I think the first time that I took it seriously was on the page of the Endometriosis Center, which is close to me. And besides that, I think the main sources were like the things my doctor said, the things the specialist said, what the page on the Endometriosis Center said, and probably Instagram, because people started talking about it.
Yeah, same. And my last question before we wrap up today's chat is, if you could describe your endometriosis, how would you describe it?
Well, if I like imagine to look in my body, for me, it I imagine it kind of like chewing gum or like a paste which goes around like the uterus, around the intestines, and it's kind of tense like muscles. And on certain times, like it's getting tenser and tenser when you go towards the period, and then I don't know how, but when it's really, really like tense and just like sticks together and crushes everything together, kind of, there are also like a little pins of needles or something, which also get into that. This is like my visual, like when I think of endometriosis, it's a paste all around the intestines, which gets tenser and tenser and kind of
and crushes everything that is inside.
Everything. Yes. slowly but steady.
Yeah, I never thought about chewing gum as a visual. I love how everyone has a different view on what endometriosis looks like, and I'm really fascinated. Like every time I ask this question, I never expect what the answer is going to be like, and it's really amazing how every answer is different.
Mm.
But yeah, thank you so much for joining today. Our little chat for Cramps and Chaos. It was really a pleasure to talk to you.
Yes, I've really had also a good time. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Cramps and Chaos is brought to you by yours truly. Don't forget to like and share, subscribe to the Cramps and Chaos channel if you're listening on YouTube, or follow the Spotify page if you're a Spotifyer. Bye bye.